we're looking at a peak in price. This is a secondary peak. Obviously, it's not hard to miss. It's a secondary peak because that's our primary peak. Notice our corresponding MACD signal. Our crossover occurs here. Higher prices should have probably given us an indication, if it was truly a strong market, of a higher reading in MACD. However, the MACD reading does not make a higher high within itself of its corresponding price peaks. Our histogram component gives us a signal as the gold lines, the gold bars, make a zero line cross right here, which confirm this moving average line, which would occur the very next bar over. The unfortunate part here, if you draw a ruler up, this MACD is giving you a sell signal way down here. Notice the low close doji is giving you a sell signal to get into the market way up here. So by going short, you have confirmation by the MACD, but for those people trading just on the MACD alone, they're getting short here, and generally, if you're getting short there, you're feeling pretty good, but then you take heat, maybe you break even on the trade. I'm showing you ways to trigger entries a lot further and a lot faster in the market than most trading courses or most people are even aware. Here we have another example of MACD bearish divergence within the histogram component. Now that's the golden bars and the line set numbers. Notice that we have a higher peak value in our euro currency Forex, and this is based on a daily chart as well. But notice that our histogram is making lower lows, and notice our zero line cross finally comes over here, and that gives us a sell signal somewhere right about, if I draw that around here. So sometimes the MACD is a good confirming tool, but yet it triggers late. Let's look at bullish convergence. Now, you can read this in your course manual, and it would just be confusing, but I'll go through it on a visual approach, which I think is more effective. Number one, a doji at pivot support, more importantly, weekly support. That's pretty impressive. But notice that we do have lower lows, and a MACD has a higher low. So therefore, and we have a zero line cross confirming our trigger. Our trigger to go long on a high close doji. Is this 3 candle pattern a more traditional morning doji star pattern? No, it really isn't, because this isn't in a really long red candle, is it? But it's more impressive because we have a secondary low, we have a higher close and a doji high, and we're at weekly support. This is a very high probability setup and a nice trade opportunity. Once again, how do we utilize MACD? Well, real simple. If we're identifying markets are at lows or making new lows or testing lows, we definitely want to see if the market truly is weak or bearish. Shouldn't the MACD or the indicators show relative weakness in the market? Is relative weakness having a higher low? No. Relative weakness would be if MACD had a lower low. So therefore, looking at just like looking at volume studies, looking at other indicators that say, what's the strength or weakness of this trend? And this downtrend was showing that it was not a very strong downtrend. It was a very weak downtrend, because if it was going to continue lower, we probably wouldn't see higher lows in the MACD. Again, same situation. Lower lows, higher lows in MACD from corresponding low to low. Again, different chart, different day, different time period, different market. This is a British pound, 15-minute, using our Genesis software, indicating a high close doji. Notice that our green arrow triggers a buy signal on a high close doji, thus our confirming MACD. However, MACD confirms and crosses over much later, and that's a truer representation of sometimes what can happen. Here, if you look at the high close doji at pivot support, notice that we're getting a buy signal somewhere around 175.10, and we're getting our buy signal around 175.20, 22 level on our MACD, or close to actually 175.25 on the MACD signal. So therefore, I think it's impressive to follow how we utilize the hidden value of the high close doji setup and how to utilize our technical studies. So hopefully, if you already have a education on MACD,